Welcome to a Tubeline manufacturing tutorial. In this video, we'll be going over the functionality of the TL1100R with power pack options. The unit can be personally controlled and customized to meet any producer's wrapping preference, both manually and via remote from the seat of their loader. The unit is made up of several components to ensure consistent wrapping performance. 13 horsepower Honda engine with electric start, 6 gallon per minute hydraulic pump, 50-liter oil tank, flow regulator, interstate battery, twin wrap kit with 4-inch offset lead, category 2 3-point hitch, transport lock, wrap cutter, display monitor, and lastly a wireless remote. An important concept to understand when operating the unit is the 3 separate table positions. The table can be loaded from either the auto from home and the auto from load position, but depending on which loader the operator chooses to load bales may vary depending on clearance. For example, operators choosing to load bales with front-end loaders or telehandlers, while shorter rangers of lift and reach, say a skid steer, will be best suited to load bales from the load position. It's also important to remember that the unit can only perform tip-off when in the auto from home position. Another important concept to understand before operating is the relationship of the table sensor and magnet. Underneath the table of the wrapper is a magnet and a proximity switch. This allows the wrapper to collect the number of rotations data as well as its position for tip-off. When the table is in the load position, the magnet sits directly above the proximity switch. The wrapper is able to perform a tip-off when both the magnet and the proximity switch are aligned. It's important to keep this area clean and free of film and debris to avoid malfunction. When operating the unit in manual mode, if the operator overshoots the magnet position, the wrapper can perform another full rotation or can be reversed to align the magnet for tip-off. The monitor features a large 5-inch display with 4 separate buttons consisting of a select or stop, scroll up or increase value button, scroll down or decrease value button, and lastly, an enter or store button. The monitor has 3 simple navigation screens consisting of a auto operation screen, manual operation screen, and a hidden parameter screen. Both the auto operation screen and the manual operation screen can be switched between by using the 3 buttons to the right, B2, B3, and B4. While the hidden parameter screen can be accessed by selecting and holding the B1 and B4 button and inputting the passcode TL1100. The auto operation screen features controls: mode, choose from 3 separate options, auto from home position mode, auto from low position mode, and manual mode. Rotations, the number of rotations the table will perform until tip-off. Tip mode, automatic. Once the desired amount of rotations has been met, the table will automatically tip off the bale. Manual. Table will wait for a manual input after performing rotations. Bale counter. Keeps count of the amount of bales and cycles the unit has performed. Home/load. How fast the table will reset to either the home or low position after tip-off. Tip hold. How long the table will wait in the tip position after activate. Pre-slowdown. How fast the table will ease into the final tip-off position on the final rotation. Each individual parameter can be adjusted and saved by simply navigating to the parameter using the arrow buttons, selecting or highlighting the box, and increasing or decreasing the increments to your desired setting. Hit enter and then deselect the box. The manual operation screen. Bale count, rotations, load position, auto wrap, tip down, tip up, reverse, forward, cut hold on, cut hold off, cancel/home, stop table rotation. In addition to our display monitor, the wrapping unit can be controlled via remote. Our rugged remote features controls on, off, load from home, wrap from home position, tip down, tip up, reverse table rotations, forward table rotation, cancel/home, and stop. In addition, the remote features a manual, automatic, air, and low light battery lights. To maximize yields when wrapping, it's crucial to have the right amount of film layers. Make sure to use high-quality film and follow the manufacturer's recommendations for storage and use. The operator must ensure that the bale is wrapped correctly. Periodically check the wrapped bales for any torn, split, or punctured film. The plastic film should be applied to the center of the bale. If it's too low or too high, adjust the stretcher height accordingly. To determine the number of table rotations required to wrap a bale, carry out the following procedure. With one film rolled applied at a time at 50% overlap. 1. Count the number of table revolutions to cover the bale completely in plastic film. 2. Add 1 to this number. Multiply this resultant figure by 3 for 6 film layers, or 4 for 8 film layers. See the example below. With 2 film rolls applied at a time with the twin wrap kit at 50% overlap. 1. Count the number of table rotations to cover the bale completely in plastic film. 2. Add 1 to this number. 3. Multiply this resultant figure by 2 for 8 film layers, or 3 for 12 film layers. See the example below. Now that we are familiar with the 3 screen interfaces and individual parameters, we can begin the initial unit setup for wrapping. 1. Lower the unit onto dry, firm, level ground, free of any obstructions or debris. 2. Unpin the transport lock located underneath the table. 3. Add rolls of film to the tensioners. 4. Run the film through the pre-tensioners properly. A diagram of the path is labeled on the tensioners or arm of the unit. 5. Pull the film across the bed and tie the end to the furthest bale guide or the table guard. 6. Begin to place your first bale on top of the table, ensuring the film is pinned and pinched in between the bale and the table. 7. Turn on the display by toggling the switch on the left side of the display and make sure the cooler is running. 8. Clear the bale count on the monitor. 9. Start the engine and move the idle 1/3 of the way. 10. Next, the operator will determine if they choose to operate the unit in automatic or manual mode. This concludes the initial setup process. These steps must be done before starting any wrapping process. Now we will move on to the individual wrapping modes. Manual operation from display. 1. Perform the initial setup and ensure the unit has been properly maintained. 2. On the monitor from the auto operation screen, cycle and select rotations and increase or decrease the value of rotations to the desired amount. 3. Hold down the 3 buttons to the right of the display for 5 seconds until the manual operation screen appears. 4. Cycle down and enter auto wrap on the monitor. The unit will begin to rotate the table. 5. Once the unit has performed the desired amount of rotations, ensure the magnet and the proxy switch are aligned. 6. On the display, cycle to tip down and hold the enter button for 3 seconds. 7. Once the bale has been dispatched, again on the display, cycle to tip up and hold the enter button for 3 seconds to return the table back to level position. 8. Place the second bale on the table and repeat the process. This concludes the manual operation from display process. For any additional information, reference the owner's manual right of the engine. Manual operation with remote. 1. Perform the initial setup, ensure that the unit is properly maintained. 2. From the display on the auto operation screen, change the mode to manual. 3. Cycle to tip mode and change the mode to manual. 4. Turn on the remote by entering the on button located at the bottom of the remote. 5. Hold down the rotate forward button on the remote to the desired rotation. 6. Stop the rotation of the table at the point where the table sensor and the magnet are aligned. 7. Push the tip down button on the remote for 3 seconds to tip off the bale. 8. Once the bale has been dispatched, push the tip up button on the remote for 3 seconds to bring the table back to level position. 9. Place the second bale on the table and repeat the process. This concludes the manual operation with remote process. For any additional information, reference the owner's manual right of the engine. auto operation with remote, and auto from home position mode. 1. Perform the initial setup. Ensure that the unit has been properly maintained. 2. From the display from the auto operation screen, change the mode to auto from home. 3. Cycle to tip mode and change the mode to either manual or auto. For this tutorial, we will leave the mode in auto. 4. Cycle to pre-slowdown and change the pre-slowdown time to the desired value. This will affect the final rotation when the table begins to slow down just before the table sensor and the magnet are aligned, and will reduce the labor on the engine when in a slow RPM. 5. Begin to place your first bale on top of the table, ensuring that the film is pinned and pinched in between the bale and the table. 6. Turn on the remote by entering the on button in green. 7. On the remote, push wrap and the unit will begin to perform the desired rotations. Once the unit has performed the rotations, if the tip mode was in manual mode, the unit will wait for a command from the operator to perform tip-off. If the tip mode is in auto mode, the unit will perform a tip-off automatically. Again, the proxy sensor needs to see the magnet before tipping. 8. Place the second bale on the table and repeat the process. Make sure the bale on the ground is far enough away to rotate the table to cut plastic. This concludes the auto operation with remote and auto from home position mode process. For any additional information, reference the owner's manual right of the engine. Auto operation with remote and auto from load position mode. 1. Perform the initial setup and ensure that the unit is properly maintained. 2. From the display, cycle and change the mode to auto from load position. 3. Cycle to tip mode and change the mode to either manual or auto. For this tutorial, we will leave the mode in auto. 4. Cycle to pre-slowdown and change the pre-slowdown time to the desired value. 5. Turn on the remote by pushing the on button in green. 6. On the remote, push the load button. The table will move to the load position. 7. Begin to place the first bale on top of the table, ensuring the film is pinned and pinched between the bale and the table. 8. On the remote, push wrap and the unit will begin to perform the desired rotations. 9. Once the unit has performed the rotations, if the tip mode is in manual, the unit will wait for a command from the operator to perform a tip-off. If the tip mode is in auto mode, the unit will perform a tip-off automatically. Again, the proxy sensor needs to see the magnet before tipping. (10) Place the second bale on the table and repeat the process. Make sure the bale on the ground is far enough away to rotate the table to cut plastic. This concludes the auto operation with remote and auto from load position mode process. For any additional information, reference the owner's manual right of the engine. This also concludes the tutorial for the TL1100R individual bale wrapper. For additional information, please contact us via phone at 1-888-856-6613 or via email at sales@tubeline.ca.